Hello, hello. Welcome into another episode of the Patriots Podcast.
Hello.
I'm Sean here with Ryan and JJ.
What's up?
Thank you all for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. Help support the podcast, our humble podcast here as Patriots fans, 0-2 Patriots fans, as we try to keep a smile on our face for a little bit here.
Smash the like button.
There you go. There you go. Patriots coming off 24-17 loss to the Dolphins. All of us thought they were going to win this game. Granted, a couple guys were ruled out of the game after we recorded the podcast, so we got our little asterisks on our predictions there. But to me, it just felt like more of the same. The same issues continue to be plaguing this team. Ryan, is that what you saw? Do you see anything else overall?
Overall, I mean, it wasn't horrible from a perspective of moving the ball. It was just not enough. We needed some more dynamic playmaking in there. It seems like if we have one penalty or one negative play, that's basically killing our drive. It was tough to watch. The defense just kept giving us a chance to get back in the game, and we couldn't take advantage. And by the time we were actually like putting points on the board, it's late in the fourth quarter, and you wonder why we couldn't do that earlier in the game. I think we have to figure out a running game. We could talk till we're blue in the face about weapons, coaches, quarterback, whatever. It's not going to change this season as far as personnel. We need to get the O-line healthy, figure out the running game, and then things will open up for the passing game, I would think. Need to get healthy, need better performances from the guys that are in there. And I know it's simple and obvious, but that's what it is. We look a bit uncoordinated as a unit to me. Everybody needs to be on the same page up front and have a real to have any kind of real offense. I think it's a possibility. It's still early in the season, but to start out 0-2, it's not what you want, and we're already last in the division. So it's a work in progress, but got to get plays downfield. 14 yards is our longest pass play.
Yeah, unreal.
And we just didn't really have it in big moments. Ball security is the other thing. I know Douglas made a mistake on Sunday night, but to bench him after that mistake and then to play him on special teams where, a mistake would be even more costly. I didn't really get that. I think we would all agree from Pop's view. He knew very little about that hit coming.
Play.
Not to let him off the hook. He's ultimately responsible for the ball in that situation, but to bench him, does that really put the team in the best position to win? I mean, he looked dynamic when he was in there. He's got some after the catch ability. You saw him stop on a dime on that play. And I'm not sure there's a more dynamic player after the catch on this team.
Yeah, you even heard the announcers saying that. Collinsworth was like, gosh, I think they actually missed Pop Douglas, a guy that's played a whopping 2 NFL games, has 6 total career receptions, was a 6th-round pick. Yeah, they rushed him right to the bench after that offensively. And it wasn't a frustrating, the Patriots scored 3 points in the whole first half, but their first 2 drives, they're like getting past midfield. They're putting some stuff together. Mm-hmm. And it's just like over and over again, everything just stalls out. James, your take.
For me, from an offensive standpoint, it all starts and ends with that offensive line. I think the whole game plan was called around the fact that our offensive line couldn't block. I think it was really obvious the way Billy was calling that he didn't have any confidence in any blocking schemes up front. He knew that they basically had to get the ball out in 2 seconds or Mac was going to get killed. And the game showed that. I mean, if Mac, everyone's talking about the weapons and we don't have any weapons and we can't get separation. Well, it's tough to get any separation and get any big plays when you literally don't have any time in the pocket. And that's what the whole game showed. I mean, if he tried to get, it's like you watch the guy, Mac Jones's progression, and, I don't want to let Mac off the hook completely on this season, but I feel like it's not anything he's doing wrong. You have Vidarian Lowe at left tackle and Calvin Anderson at right tackle. Calvin Anderson had a terrible game at right tackle, which we thought he had a better game. He was going against their backup in, Van Geikel or something. Van Ginkel.
Van Ginkel, all
you
pro
know,
candidate this year.
They scout Miami. Good
Yeah.
to them. They scouted him. They said, okay, looks like we can put a speed rusher on this guy, and he won't be able to do anything about it. You know, you have tight ends chipping on, or running backs chipping both sides on every single play. It's like, it's hard to get stuff downfield when that's all you can do. And it was very apparent to me that that was the case. We didn't do any play action. I saw a stat. We've only run one play action play all year in 90 passing plays or whatever it is. And it's like, that's always Mac Jones. That was, that's a lot of quarterbacks. That's their best friend is play action, but we can't get the run going. I think Cole Strange had a tough game back first time. I mean, it's tough to put a lot on him because he hasn't really practiced or played at all. He carried the ball well.
Pretty
maybe
well.
They give him on the ball and short. I mean, they were fine on short down yardage, but it's like anytime Mac tries to go through his progression, he got killed. And he was moving through the pocket. He made some really good plays on the run where he got out of the pocket and was throwing off balance and all that stuff. He had the bad pick. I put that on Devontae Parker as much as I put it on Mac Jones, getting shoved out of bounds by a cornerback. I mean, that's really a bad look for a 6'4", 215-pound receiver, even though it was, their best cornerback. But they got to fix the offensive line. I think Vidarian Lowe had an okay game. We saw they just gave Trent Brown a contract extension or a little bump in money, and then he was back at practice today. I don't know what that's about, but
Does that mean his injury evaporated?
I'll let you
it was a
come up with
contract
that
thing?
or make that decision.
Do you guys think that at right tackle next week, if assuming Trent Brown's healthy, they should put Vidarian Lowe at right tackle? I thought he significantly outplayed Calvin Anderson.
Rush. And it was, I mean, he whatever they did when Trent Brown was in there week 1, they clearly put a lot more attention on the right side with chipping and shifting that way and stuff like that. And it worked. They kind of hit it a little bit. When you have two tackles you have to do that for, it opens up a lot more stuff. It's a lot more difficult to do that. And, it's like, all we did, it's like how many passes, it's kind of sadly reminiscent of last year, how many passes are lateral passes, couple yards downfield, short of the sticks. And it's, offensive line. To me, I mean, like you said, Demario Douglas was benched. I mean, he's the only guy that can make people miss. He had that right before the fumble. It was a great play. It was an exciting play. Bradley Chubb, a freaking giant. I can't believe he caught up to him, but he had a good angle on Douglas, and he popped it out. And for him to only get 6 plays, he's up there in receptions on the team for the amount of time he's gotten on the field. And the benching too, which is ridiculous. I agree with you. The kid got no time in preseason. It's like you don't play him in the preseason because he's doing so well. Then he makes one mistake in an actual game and you bench him. It's like, well, why didn't you play him all preseason so he understands the speed and people running behind him? And, the guy came from Liberty. It's not like he's playing Alabama and he's playing these monsters and stuff. It's like, there's got to be a give and take to this stuff. And, it's too bad that you have to focus so much on him as being the guy, but that's where they're at. That's the team they've set up for themselves. I thought Parker was okay. Bourne, I don't know what happened to him this game. They had a couple deep passes to him, and
I don't know why they kept trying to throw him deep.
Right.
He might be the slowest receiver we have.
Of the field? Why aren't we throwing the seams stuff? It's like we kept trying to attack their boundary, their sidelines, is what it seemed like to me all game. Where is our classic over-the-middle throws? Guys, crossers, deep in cuts, like seams down the middle by the tight end. We didn't do any of that. Maybe until the 2-minute.
He hit a couple to Devontae Parker, but that was it. Just a couple to him, who's usually a boundary receiver, but Mac clearly can't throw to the boundary. I mean, to Devontae Parker.
It's a tough look, especially since Miami, vaunted offense. They looked good, but it wasn't like I didn't think they outplayed us all game. It really just like we can't score points in the first half. I don't know what it is. The amount of field goals we've left on the field is insane. points we get to where I saw one of the most, where I think top 5 or something efficiency in the red zone this year. We're like 5 of 7 or something.
We're 2 for 2. It's because when we get to the 25-yard line, we either go backwards or turn it over.
So, I mean, it's really unfortunate. They got to pull this shit out of their ass, and it is frustrating the amount of times they mention that big freaking $250 million TV, and it's like, oh, we couldn't spend $20 million on a left tackle when there was 4 left tackles in free agency this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we do have the most cap space in the league for next year.
It's like, what are we doing?
Got to spend it. You
gotta spend it. Yeah. Well, you can't spend it yet.
Yes, you can.
Sounds like a couple other things. Offensively, I thought Ramondre looked more like himself. I think he was probably still dealing with the illness last week. The run blocking isn't there at this point. Zeke
atrocious.
barely got on the fields. Tight ends were pretty good. I'd like to see Gesicki get more involved. He does some good things out there. And then, I mean, we got to talk about the defense. I would say the defense, even though they gave up 24 points,
terrible.
The run defense was terrible. The pass defense was good. And sometimes that's a trade-off you have to make. I mean, Tyreek Hill had like 60 yards or something.
I know they did it against
40 yards.
They're playing cover 3 with just safeties.
What?
Yeah, and it's, it worked because that's what we were worried about was the big play offensively. What ended up happening was Tua was untouched and the ball was coming out super fast, and they were just completing everything. And the run game, God, Mostert was good.
Yeah, that play where he scored the 45, was it 45 or 50, something like that?
43 I'm seeing.
We were creeping back into the game there, and that was a backbreaker. But I didn't think Miami was overly impressive, to be honest with you. I didn't think
Agreed.
They did anything special. I mean, we kind of kept Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and, a little bit of check. There was nothing deep. They caught plenty of balls underneath, especially Tyreek Hill. But some tough matchups there, I think, too. When you look at all 3 of the Joneses on defense going out, Marcus got dinged up early. It looked like he separated his shoulder, dislocated his shoulder or something. And then you already have Jack Jones out, and Jonathan Jones is a big one, too. Then you're stuck with Miles
Bryant.
Played
well. I thought
Sean
Miles
Wade
Bryant
and the kid
showed up
Gonzalez.
He played good, especially tackling. Sean Wade, not so much. Christian Gonzalez, phenomenal. He is. He's like exceeding expectations somehow.
It was an underthrown ball, but he played it so well. Out-jumped Tyreek Hill to pull it down. I was impressed by that. And then we got no points off of it. I thought that was it, It's like, oh, they got it. All right, now I just need a score and we'll tie it up or get within a score. On defense, I have a couple bones to pick. The 3 deep safeties, the cover 3 was an interesting look, but the fact that we did it all goddamn game and we just let everything go underneath, it's like we have a lot of defensive talent. I think we all agree with that. And it's, that was more of like a prevent, and I understand. You have Tyreek Hill, you lost a couple cornerbacks, but it's like, go at him a little bit. We sent no pressure towards Tua. We the lineup, I can't stand what we came out in the first quarter. It was the 3-5 with Tavai and Uche on the ends. And they did whatever they wanted to that formation. They immediately scored, and then we changed up. But we're trying to fit Tavai into this like Donta Hightower type position. They did it last week. He got absolutely roasted. They changed it up. This week, if you watch, they basically ran every play at him. If you watch it, he like every single play, wherever he was lined up, they ran it right at him, and he couldn't do anything about it. They put Godchaw on the end instead of nose tackle, and I thought Godchaw played terrible on the end. He was like 5 to 10 yards down the field on every run play. It's like, what are you doing that far down the field? He did it last week too. I don't know what that is. Barmore got the same amount of time as Lawrence Guy. Dietrich Wise is one of our most played defensive linemen, which I don't understand that either. I know he's a good piece, but it's like, can you put the most talented guys on the field for a majority of the time, please?
It seems like a simple ask.
You look at the snap counts, and Keon White's only got 42 on the season. Mapu's got 39 on the season. Then you look at, Godshot's been horrible so far. I don't know what's going on there. Needs to step it up. Miles Bryant's got 97. I mean, it's some of these guys. Lawrence Guy's got 59 snaps to Keon White's 42. I'm sorry, Keon White needs to be playing a lot more. Barmore has 65. But, I'm just looking up and down at some of the grades, and I'm like,
terrible.
Godshaw's been terrible. I don't know what's going on with Wise.
No.
Wise has not been good.
He hasn't
either.
made any plays. The only times you notice
still
Wise
to see when
he's getting blown up.
I mean, last year was awesome. I don't know what happened last year, but I hope it's not gone already, because that was like, I would take that. But to see Keon White not getting the snaps is frustrating to me. Uche is another one, not getting a ton of snaps. Him and Duggar have the best grades in the team. Or not Duggar, him and Gonzalez have the best grades in the team.
The thing with Uche
far.
is, we're constantly playing from behind. So Uche, usually cleaned up when they, clear passing downs type of thing. And we're not really in those, obviously 3rd and 8, something like that. Sure. But most of the game, it's like we're chasing. So they're kind of trying to slow it down, and that's not really his MO. And I am surprised they started him in that game against the run. He got blown up. Judon didn't start. And it's like, then they immediately took him out and put Judon in. And it's like, why didn't you just start with freaking Judon and put Y? And, they have the 3-4 with Wise and Godchaw at ends. And, Wise and Godchaw at the ends, and like Lawrence Guy Ukulele in the middle. And Wise can't do it. We've proven that Wise should be a 4-3 end, and he's very effective. But then they put him over the guard, and he gets absolutely destroyed against double teams. And they continually do it.
I understand we sub a lot, but I mean, whenever I look at the team and it's some combination of Equale, Guy, Wise, and Godshaw in there, I fucking hate it. I'm sickened by it. I want to see Barmore and Keon White, and then if you want to put Wise or Godshaw in there
and rotate them in, I mean, those should be the rotation guys.
Yeah,
you're making a lot of sense. A lot of good points
too.
I think this has been my main frustration with this team is these like playing time issues, along with the terrible penalties and the like mental mistakes, these bad turnovers in plus territory. It just reeks of a poorly coached team, even though I think they're certainly better coached this year so far than they were last year, particularly offensively. But it's still like the hallmarks of a badly coached team. Now we got to temper it, because we always know in September things can be rocky. It's like that extended preseason we talked a lot about. So we should probably reevaluate it come week 5, week 6. But at this point in time, it's just like mental errors all over the place, and mental errors that are happening by the coaching staff as well as the players.
Touchdown. We had our first touchdown. Chris Collinsworth comes on the TV and he's like, talk about illegal. We did like 3 illegal things in that freaking play, and we got lucky as shit. They didn't call it. It was like the guy was lined up wrong. We did an illegal shift. It was like everything about it. It was illegal. Yeah, and it's like
3 linemen downfield. Yeah,
I can't. Yeah,
it was right.
That was a running play. That was a blown up play. They were so lucky to get a touchdown on that, and even more lucky there wasn't a penalty.
Is rough, and it's like you're blaming Demario Douglas for the fumble. I get it, but then Dietrich Wise will jump off sides or have some bullshit inside holding call, and he's on the field the whole time, even though that was like a 3rd and 5. You would have got off the field if he didn't do it. And it's like, and why doesn't he get benched? Oh, he's a captain. Okay, but well, then why the hell are you benching Demario Douglas, a rookie? We didn't, and the thing is, like you just said, Granny, it's always been a slow start, right? The last for so many years since COVID, we've had very slow starts, and nobody's playing in the preseason. Why aren't our guys playing more in the preseason? Figure these things out. Like, we're using the preseason as, okay, let's see what garbage guys we can use for depth, but our starters, we don't need to figure anything out. I mean, that's how I honestly feel. It's like, last week before the game, we get 2 tackles in the building. We don't know what they can do. We're just going to figure it out, when you could have done that earlier in training camp for probably the same trade price. And you could have figured out some offensive line shit. Our offensive line is terrible. They looked so bad. We had 4 sacks in this game, and Mac was lucky to get out of probably 3 or 4 more. There was holding penalties.
Yeah.
The holding penalty on Cole Strange was tough. I thought it was a little ticky-tack, but they called it. There was some offsides. It's just ugly. And that's the whole thing to me, on offense anyways, is they can't figure out the offensive line. Everything flows through the offensive line. We've always talked about that. Bill has always made it a point to really, if you could say anything about the Brady years, he always had a good offensive line, right? And if he didn't, they figured it out really damn quick. They were like, that's it.
The number of people that they were like, Dan Connolly is all of a sudden really, really good. And it's like, they did that with so many different guys through the years. And for some reason, the last couple, they haven't been able to do that. Okay. Well, I think we've wrapped up this game pretty good. Patriots start 0-2, last in the AFC East. Next week, they're going to travel to New York. First game on the road against the Jets. But before we get to that, why don't we talk about some other games from week 2 here? Last week, we were talking about some of the most intriguing games, watchable games, or games that are must watch, and then some that are worth a glance. At the end of this, I did skip over the Falcons and Packers last week, and Ryan corrected me that was an intriguing game, and boy, were you right. Falcons team, just even if you just watch like 5 clips of Bijan Robinson, you're like, damn, I need to see this team play.
Yeah, he's fun to watch.
Packers go up big. Falcons take over in the fourth quarter, end up pulling it out despite Arthur Smith. Do you see that clip of him? They ran the ball on 4th down. He was like, "Oh, you weren't supposed to snap it," and then they got the 4th down.
No, I didn't see
He's
it.
like, "Oh, thank God." They ended up getting the winning field goal.
He was so hesitant to kick both those field goals late in the game. Like, he did not want to kick a field goal. You could just see it on the sideline. Like, they declined to take one, and then I think they got a first down, and they finally took it. But it was a chip shot for Young Hoku.
He's like
He's
one
a really
of the most
good kicker
accurate in the league, I think.
They were hesitant to take a 25-yard field goal to win the game, to put them up 25, 24, and there was like 2 minutes left on the clock, and he was afraid to give Green Bay the ball, which is, I thought it was surprising. But yeah, almost. Well, they were down 24-12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and going into the fourth quarter.
They came back.
So, pretty good there.
Big
Something we couldn't do.
Yeah, and they're up. They're 2-0. How
2-0
about the
Atlanta Falcons?
How about the NFC South? It's got 3 2-0 teams.
Yeah.
Am I reading that right? I think the Buccaneers, Saints, and the Falcons. The division we thought was going to be the worst in the NFL so far. It could.
Buccaneers is a surprising one there. But they played what, the Giants, or not the Giants, the Bears?
The Bears are. Yeah. I mean, can we stick a fork in them?
Bears are a fucking mess.
They are a mess. Justin Fields. They traded 2 first-round picks to move up in front of the Patriots and draft Justin Fields. And as much as we want to bitch about Mac Jones, you'd much rather have him than Justin Fields right about now. Not even close. Okay, some of the other games. Chiefs, Jaguars. This one frustrated the living shit out of me. The Jaguars just refused to win this game. Absolutely refused. I think they had like a 4th and 12. I need to look it up. But they were way, way in the red zone at the end of the game. And they were down 8 points. And they were like, we need to score on this drive. 100%. 4.5 minutes to go. 4th and goal from the 16. Kick a field goal.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? Instead, they go for it on 4th and 16. Don't get it, obviously. And then the Chiefs get a ton of momentum and actually go all the way down and are able to run out the clock. 4-minute drill worked out for them. But the Jaguars, you kick that field goal, now you force, I don't know, maybe the defensive possession goes differently. It seemed idiotic, and they made plays like that all game long.
Yeah. Kansas City's defense
They
looks
got
legit.
Chris Jones back.
They
Yeah,
are, right? Chris Jones is back this week.
2 games into the season, they've allowed some ridiculously low amount of points. What it 9 to the Jaguars, and the Lions scored 21, but I think they got a special teams play.
They had a pick six on that,
or a pick six, right? So what's that? 14-9, 23 points on the season.
sorry about that. Huh?
that happened to me too.
Yeah, it's like,
Had
what
a
the
Burger King
hell
commercial
is
on the
going
back.
on
ESPN, man. It just autoplay that stuff. Yeah, Chiefs defense is really good, and they're going to need it this year because that offense is at least starting slowly. Okay, Titans Chargers, tight game in this one. Chargers had the ball late with the chance to go down the field, couldn't do anything. This is a recurring theme with the Chargers, playing everybody close but can't pull it out in the fourth quarter. Are we ready? They're 0-2 right now. They're going to Minnesota this coming week. So it's going to be a battle.
Minnesota's 0-2 too. They need a win.
It's going to be a battle of who can lose in the fourth quarter better.
And I mean,
the Vikings or the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers find ways to lose, man. I don't know what's going on with the defense over there. The offense is fine. By the end of the season, I would be shocked if Kellen Moore was
He's got to
the head
be
coach.
His seat's warm, extremely warm right now.
That defensive Brandon Staley's supposed
Titans,
to be some defensive
1-1. They didn't pull that
case,
one out against the Saints.
What the fuck, man?
In week 1. Another one, the Bengals.
Legitimately not
still sitting there at 0-2.
Like,
they lose one to the Ravens.
Trash.
They just look so bad.
Well, they pulled him. They pulled him because of the calf. But yeah, he looks bad. That's a no training camp performance there from Joe Burrow.
I think you're seeing it across the league that offense is just down. I mean, I don't know if that's because defenses have adjusted or are playing faster or whatnot, but the Bengals got to figure it out. You want to talk about this, that, and the other thing. I mean, they've got they put the offensive line work in. They've got a bunch of big names there. They got arguably the best receiving core in the league, and they can't do it. They look so pedestrian. It's really surprising.
Yeah, they're going to have a chance this week against the Rams, a Rams team that's looked pretty
Burrow
good
might
out of
not
the
play,
gate.
they're saying.
So Bengals really need to get on the board. I know. That's going to trick things out. The other AFC North battle, Browns, Steelers. You guys watch this on Monday night?
I watch bits and pieces.
Talk about
watch
the
the whole
Steelers.
thing.
They're just up and down and all around. It's like that was
their
really
offense
sloppy,
is really bad.
Yeah,
their defense scored 2 touchdowns.
They need a win or they need a score and George Pickens for 70 yards. It's like, that looks nice.
Yeah.
The one good
That was
play,
the one good play the
Kenny
Steelers had
Pickens
offensively.
Really not good. Or Kenny Pickett. Is it Kenny Pickett?
Pickett.
He does
Pickett.
not.
Pickett.
Did you see?
He looked pretty rough.
Nick
I
Chubb.
thought he looked really bad for most of that game. The interceptions he
tore his knee up.
Ryan, I think we should have a scoreboard on the screen for the number of times. Yeah, that's right. We should be counting the number of names that JJ butchers during each other. We should just have a counter for that. But then on the other side, the Browns didn't look good either. Deshaun Watson still looks disheveled. Obviously, Nick Chubb going out. That's a terrible bummer for everybody. But for whatever reason, Deshaun Watson what is this, like game 11 since he came back after 2 years out? And he just hasn't put it back together yet. They might have to radically change that offense to fit him better.
Sacked 6 times.
They got a good offensive line.
Oof.
And he just doesn't look like he knows what he's looking at downfield anymore. Like some of those throws, it's like the interception he threw. I'll give it to Mac. The interceptions he's thrown this year, he's thrown 2 interceptions. One bounced off a guy's hands, and the one to Devontae Parker, it was 1-on-1 down the sideline, deep in territory. That's probably the least of, least dangerous
Dangerous.
throw you could make in terms like Deshaun Watson was just like throwing to the other team, and then he has 2 face mask penalties. Did you see that? He was like grabbing the guy's face mask and like throwing it as hard. I was like, can he do that? And then there's the flag. Oh no.
On one of them, I thought there was a chance like his finger got stuck in the face mask, but twice makes it very suspect.
Yeah.
As he knows, when the number of infractions come against you, it makes it more believable.
Nice one.
What was it? 29.3 QER.
Yeah, not good.
29.3.
Yikes.
That's pretty bad.
That is definitely bad. Okay. One more bad team and then one good team. The Broncos, the bad team. Sean Payton was brought in to bring Russell Wilson back to respectability. Hasn't happened yet. They dropped one against the Commanders. Almost came back with a Hail Mary at the end that got tipped like 3 times. The guy pulls it in. And then predictably, I was watching the game. I was like, there's no way they're going to get this 2-point conversion. And then it was just mayhem. The Commanders are 2-0 somehow. But they play the Cardinals and the Broncos. The Broncos are just bad. I mean, bad. And there's no future.
They got some receivers over there, man. You see that Marvin Mims? What do you have? They had this catches for 113 yards and a touchdown. Jeez, they were both bombs. He's just bombing. He had a 60-yard catch and a 53-yard catch. Then they got Judy back, Cortland Sutton, good players. Javonte Williams is in there. Looks like he's getting back to health. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's the same.
Yeah,
little Jordan Humphreys getting a bunch of snaps. I don't
really.
I'll always root for Lil Jordan. Yeah. Okay, team that bounced back in week 2, as most of us expected, but didn't want to see, the Bills. Bills beat the living shit out of the Raiders, 38-10, I think it was, and the Raiders scored a touchdown at the beginning of the game, so it was just a brutality of a game after that for Raiders fans. Bills are putting it back together. Josh Allen had another highlight where he tried to hurdle somebody and like flipped backwards.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. He only ran the ball 3 times, which is unlike Josh Allen. Well, I guess he didn't really need to. James Cook, 17 carries for 123 yards. Latavius Murray had another 6 carries. Damian Harris had 7 carries. So, I mean, that's kind of what they've been needing, you know?
Yeah.
To give the ball to some other guys to run the ball, you know?
Helps when you're up by 30 points. That's a benefit.
Yeah.
And then another game we didn't touch on before, Seahawks-Lions. Game in Detroit. Lions fans flying high after that opening weekend victory on the road against the Chiefs. Seahawks score 14 points in the fourth quarter, push it to overtime. Actually, the Lions came back at the end to push it to overtime. And then Seahawks got the ball and didn't stop in OT. These are 2 teams that are remarkably level.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're like just middle of the pack, maybe a hair over middle of the pack, but very similar teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the Jets go into Dallas, and the Cowboys look like the best team on the planet right now after what they did to the Giants and the Jets. New York fans taking it in the face from the Cowboys. The Cowboys defense has been absolutely incredible. Zach Wilson, 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Again, predictable. It's one of the things we get to look forward to next week.
Yeah,
the Jets were terrible against that Dallas defense is fucking legit. That's a scary team. We have to play later in the season. Micah Parsons on a different planet.
If we lose
the
Jets, we have to go to play Dallas. So 0-4 sadly is on the table.
Yeah.
I think we have to play immediately.
That's what I mean. But if we could be looking at 0-4 here, which is very scary.
Could be staring it down.
I mean, the vaunted Jets offense game ran for 64 yards. So, you know.
Yeah, well, everyone can just key on that right now because you're
Yeah,
like, Zach
yeah.
Wilson's not going to be a problem for us. He's going to give us the ball a couple times, and let's just make sure the running game doesn't get going. Brees Hall, there's already
Really?
discontent in the Jets locker room. Brees Hall's like, I know why we
Oh,
lost
really?
because
Well,
I
he
didn't get
he
the
only
ball.
got 4
It's like,
carries.
oh shit!
Zach Wilson
Fire
went
away,
3 for
young
30,
man.
more than half of their rushing yards. It was from Zach Wilson. So, I don't know what that's about, but and they were and
Yeah.
it really didn't get out of hand until the second half. I mean, it was like, it was a close game going into the second quarter, I remember, but then it kind of fell apart pretty quickly after. But I'm surprised they didn't really hand the ball off. I don't know, maybe I didn't really see most of the game, but yeah, just utter domination.
It seems like a team that if you can
They're
get
done. They're
ahead
not
of them
coming
early,
back.
they're fucked.
Yep.
There's nothing they can do. Garrett Wilson, I mean, what are you gonna? You're just gonna throw the ball up and hope Garrett Wilson does that
Ridiculous
68-yard,
things.
ridiculous play that he had last week. It's just like, if you don't get that, then you're not scaring anybody. We just key on Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook, and if Garrett Wilson beats us with Zach Wilson throwing him the ball, then I'll take my chances with that.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook has been a complete non-factor these first 2 weeks. Okay, so the Pats are going to New York to play the Jets. It's our first not nationally broadcast game of the year. Thank God we don't need any more eyeballs on us. Let us figure it out for a minute. And we've touched on the Jets offense. It's extremely limited at the quarterback position. We can already pencil in 2 takeaways from Zach Wilson, especially with Belichick's track record against him, making him see ghosts, Sam Darnold style. In terms of the Jets defense, got a ton of publicity, looked really good in week 1 against the Bills. What's the Patriots offense going to do to try to, I mean, what do you got to get? 17 points to beat this Jets team?
Yeah.
How are we going to get to 17 against the Jets defense?
You got to utilize the middle of the field, up the seams. That's how you can beat the Jets. Tight end looks, slants. I would definitely want to stay away from Sauce, and the other corner that they have over there is pretty good.
DJ
got to get
Reed.
the ball out. DJ Reed, yeah. Got to get the ball out quick because that defensive line is coming, and those guys are really good, and they're deep. You look up and down. John Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams is probably the best defensive tackle in football at the moment. Maybe Chris Jones is in that conversation, but I mean, they get after it. So, it's not something that's, it's doable. This is a totally winnable game, and it's a must-win game. I think you can't drop to 0-3 and then be playing Dallas. The Jets offense, we should be dominating. Get Uche and Judon after this kid. He can't handle it. And get an early lead. Got to win the turnover battle, get an early lead, and I think that's how I would attack them, up the seams.
Yeah, one of the good things about facing this offense is that we could go away from what we did last week, where we had like 6 defensive backs on the field, and we could shift back to a more traditional base defense, where we might even have only 4 defensive backs. Which is extremely rare for us to play. I wouldn't actually expect that. I would expect 5, but 5 versus 6. Now you got Uche playing in an off-ball linebacker position instead of an edge position. Now you might have a lot of horsepower up front because you're not as worried on the back end because Zach Wilson isn't going to expose
you. For me,
you.
a couple things. Offensive line, they've really got to figure that out. Hopefully Trent Brown coming back makes a big push in the right direction. And also just a play selection. It's like I think I saw that we went under center like 10 times in the last game, and they were all 10 runs. So, probably 5 runs into it, you're like, okay, they're going to run the ball. So, just all these tells and no play action. And I understand that's from the offensive line. It's tough to do that when you don't have anyone blocking up front. Like Billy O'Brien's got to put some play calls in there that throw them off. Like it's week 2 and we're already getting a cadence of what we're going to do, which is very reminiscent of all of last year, which scares the hell out of me. because it's like by week 6, we knew the play selection from play 1 to play 50 on the field, and we can't fall into that because the offensive line's having trouble. So I think we need to figure that out, get the ball out quick, but like Ryan said, attack the middle of the field. Let's get some play action going. Give Stevenson some more, I know you want to go out of shotgun all the time because of the offensive line, but he's got to go under center a little bit. He's got to have some more play action. We can't just do shotgun, run pass options all damn game, and it's so scripted. Like, let's get some momentum, score quick, and, don't be afraid to, like, open things up with the tight ends down the field, in the middle of the field, stuff like that. So that'd be huge. And on defense, I'd like to see Gonzalez man up Garrett Wilson. I know he's not going to, there's some over the top help would be nice. I think that would be pretty good if he can help shut that down, because that's all Zach Wilkinson can do, and get after him. Like you said, Ryan, let's put our best pass rushers on the field at the same time and put our best defensive players on this field at the same time. I want to see Uche, Judon, Barmore, and White on the field for passing downs, for the love of God, right? Can you put them out there and let them wreak havoc? Because that's what we were hoping would happen this year. We really haven't seen that package yet. I don't know why, but I'd love to see that. Like, I need to see it stat. I want to see some more linebacker blitzes and, some guys shooting gaps the right way. Get the hell Julian Tavai off the defensive end, because he cannot set the edge for the life of him. I think he's a good player in space. He made a lot of headway last year, and they're just putting him out of position. I can't stand it. And I want to see more from the safeties. Kyle Duggar had a really rough game last week. Tyreek Hill on the line, when Tyreek Hill scored that touchdown, Duggar just kind of let him run by him. It's like he could manhandle Tyreek Hill at the line, and he didn't. Little things like that. Let's see us use our talented guys and be physical. I want a physical football game. Can we go beat the shit out of someone? Line up across from them and beat the hell out of them. I know it's a tall task right now, but we can do it. We can do it.
That's the number one thing that I want to see that would encourage me, is if our offensive line can get something going in the running game. Mm-hmm. That would just ease everything up. It would allow us to play action, probably allow us to vary our looks for run versus pass. And if you get Trent Brown back, if Onwenu can make it through a full game, which he didn't do last week, Strange, Andrews, and then patch it up at right tackle, it just seems like you should be able to run the ball. Now, this defense is pretty good against the run, so it's not the best opportunity for that. Mm-hmm. But if we could just get some momentum in that area, that would be the number one encouragement for me going forward. Also, no more dumb mistakes.
Tighten up the mistakes. Get Demario Douglas involved. He is clearly your best change of pace guy on the offense. There's no one else on the offense we have right now that can do what he does. Get him involved. When he's out there, he was out there for 6 plays and he had 2 catches for 20 yards. Yeah, is that incredible? No, but saying it's more than a lot of the other guys could pull off right now. I mean, I hate to say it, but I feel like I'm missing Thornton out there in that speed. And, what is he going to do? I don't know. He's going to take the top off of defenses and make people at least respect it. All you have to do is hit that once, and then everyone goes, okay, we got to lighten up. These guys can load the box right now because they know everything so underneath. It's like we're playing to our weaknesses. Okay, we can't forward any time. We can't really go downfield because of it. So what does the defense do? All right, they're not going downfield. Let's load everyone up in the box. And you know what I mean? So it's like you're playing to our own. We're playing to our own weaknesses, which really doesn't make any sense to me. So I'd love to see Bill O'Brien, gain some, like you said, gain some momentum. They got to figure out something. There's plenty of talent on our team. People have said it's a lack of talent. I think there's enough talent. They just have to figure out how to use it and not be so afraid. Like that Miami game, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I felt like we were playing afraid until the fourth quarter. And then finally it's like, okay, we're down. We can't play afraid anymore, so we got to go at them. And we did. The 2-minute worked. I thought the 2-minute Mac has always felt really good in the 2-minute, and we only bring it out late.
Yeah.
It's like start with the no huddle. I don't care. Go for it. You know.
Yeah, I really hated the
Right.
Oh, now this is urgent kind of scenario last week. Like we were losing the whole game. Why couldn't we push the pace earlier on? I don't want to see that, man. I want to see us attack a team, totally guns blazing, but at the same time take care of the ball, because that's really the Jets' only chance in this game.
Yeah,
is turnovers. So I feel like that's the biggest thing.
No doubt. Special teams will play a role as well, as we remember from the Marcus Jones game last year when they failed to punt the ball out of bounds. We returned it back as a punter.
I would love
now we have a good one.
If we stop the run in this game, that's it. Basically, stop the run, stop Garrett Wilson. Maybe that's asking too much, but there are other receivers. It's like Mecole Hardman. I'm not afraid of. I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about Alan Lazard. He's been okay. Their tight end Tyler Conklin, whatever. I don't think Cobb has a catch yet. So, load the box, be physical, and get up early. Like you said, right? It would be the urgency in the fourth quarter. That's great that we have that. I'm happy that we have that fight in us when the fourth quarter we can go and score a couple touchdowns. But it's like, why can't we come out of the gate? It's like we need that motivation. We have to be down by 2 scores. Be like, all right, maybe we should start playing now. Can we come out in the first quarter and score? I feel like we don't score in the first quarter anymore. We can't do it. We couldn't do it last year.
The last two first quarters.
It's still early, but
the last two first quarters have been
that was our
dreadful.
biggest problem. Was we would get down because we can't score early, and then that's it. It's like, get out there, score immediately. I don't care if it's 3 points. I don't care if it's touchdown. Get out there and get points on the board in the first quarter, so you're not always playing from behind, always hoping for a big defensive play. Stressful way to view the game,
Yep.
It is.
It sounds like
I know.
Imagine being a Jets fan.
It's very frustrating. It was almost boring last week. As far as moving the ball, we were trying to matriculate the ball so conservatively against Miami, and it's like, other than Xavier Howard, attack
every
Eli
play.
Apple, attack him. Send someone deep
every
on him.
time they threw at him.
Every
time they threw at
those
Eli
guys
Apple,
aren't
he
scary.
either forced a penalty or it was a completion, and we stopped going against them. Yeah, they really gotta it's like everything has to be perfect because our offensive line is bad, and you gotta find ways around it. You gotta find ways to fix that. We didn't mention the huge special teams play last week. You mentioned special teams.
No, that we should.
I know, right?
I can't
cool
believe
is that?
that's legal.
I know.
I don't know how.
I was just.
Yeah.
I feel like that woke everyone up.
Yeah, right. We're like, they're gonna go up by 3 scores now, and then it was like, bam. And I was right before that. I was trying to. I do this all the time watching the game. I'm trying to teach my wife about football, and she's like really accepting.
Yeah, right,
she's like,
right.
oh yeah, cool. And so I was teaching her about the speed motion that the Dolphins are doing, which is a great innovation. I still don't know how they get the snap count right, but when they have Tyreek Hill in the slot on the right, and then instead of running in motion across the formation, he runs straight to the sideline, and then he starts the play with the head start. So I was teaching her about that, and then they blocked the field goal, and I was like, shit, we just did speed motion on defense.
Yeah.
I've never seen that shit before, and people blew up. They were like, I've never seen that before. It was all over the internet. Brandon Schooler.
I like that. Well, I can't stand Chris Collinsworth. He's super annoying. Every time someone does something, that's incredible. I've never seen that before. This is the best offense I've ever seen.
Piles it on.
Everything's just amazing to him. Like, dude, you've been in the fucking league 40 years. Like, take it down a notch. But that was something that I've not seen before. And he mentioned that more teams are going to try that. But it's one of those things. You see him coming. Now you know about it.
Yeah.
To time that up, all you have to do is delay.
And that guy jumps
a half
off.
second. And you can't time it up like
was
that.
Was it you that sent me the video, Ryan,
play.
on that?
You can always...
About the snap? How he timed
I
it
don't
up?
think so.
What video?
How we knew to time it up? I thought it was you.
I don't.
Oh, did he go
The
off like the flash
holder
signal
was a
from the
former
holder?
Patriots player, and he has a move.
Oh.
He like looks at the kicker, he does his little thing, and then he lets out a breath, and then he goes. And Bill so I don't know. Some dude broke this video. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but he does a lot of football videos. He's big in the media, whatever. And he was like, Bill has been waiting for this for years. Probably like, how has no one picked up on this guy exhaling every time he puts his hands up? And that's exactly what happened. He exhaled and Schooler knew to go, and that's how he timed it up. So I don't know if it's something they can do every week because, that's something that's like a tell. Like, the left tackle, puts his right hand on his hip every time it's a pass play type of thing. Like only certain players do that stuff. So you got to, it's an opportune thing you got to jump on.
Yeah.
From the angle on TV too,
Yeah,
he
it's
came
like,
out of nowhere.
where was he?
He wasn't even in shot, and all of a sudden he's sprinting in, and it's like
He tried it twice.
he was out wide.
He tried it
I
on
don't
that.
know.
He was way out wide. And Christian Wilkins was the wing position blocking on that. His eyes never even went out there. He was just like looking inside. He's like, I guess no one's going to line up across from me, and didn't even think until a Schooler was like next to him and he barely touched him. And then it worked again on the missed field goal. I think this was Collinsworth actually said this. He's like, I wonder if just thinking about that guy in the corner of his eye made the kicker be off by just as much. It was a deep field goal, so it wasn't a layup or anything. Really cool.
Cool play.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other games this week. It's actually
predictions first, or
do a prediction. Yeah.
Go for it.
You want me to lead off? I got Pats 20, Jets 13.
Rye, you want next or you want me?
I got Pats 23, Jets 10.
All right, I'm going to go Patriots 28.
That's what I'm talking about.
Jets 14. We have.
You're really buying into that red zone
we got to get
efficiency,
something
huh?
going. I'm just trying to be optimistic here. I know this is a great defense. I don't want to discredit them all, but we got to get something going. If it's not again, the Jets are so deflated without Aaron Rodgers like that. He was their savior. He's gone. They're back with Zach Wilson. Everyone thought, oh, maybe he's better this year. Doesn't appear to be based on Dallas, even though that's a great defense. So we this is the game. This is the game. We come out. If we could go up big against them, kind of beat the crap, a little bit like last year. We had those games where we come out against worse teams and we run up the score, we beat the crap out of them, get a little confidence. We need some confidence going down to Dallas is away game, right? So
I'll be there.
So good luck to you, man.
Cool.
So we need some serious optimism and momentum going into that game, and we might have a chance because it's still early. But if we lose this game, it's what does it say for the season if we lose this game? What does it say for Bill Belichick?
It's panic. Yeah, it's panic. And then we're going into Dallas. And right now, Dallas looks like arguably the best team in the league. Second, third best team in the league. The 49ers are up there too.
And Dallas is going to Arizona. They're going to a team that's actively tanking this week. Dallas is going to have a point differential of like plus 100 going into week 4.
If Bill,
they almost. Go ahead. I was going to say that the Cardinals they almost beat the Giants.
That looked really ugly for the Giants for a while. And
it was bad for a while there. And then I saw Wink Martindale pull the entire defense to the side, start screaming at him. And after that, it was a lot better. So
maybe we need some.
That's a scary yelling match right there.
Billy O'Brien's old Dorchester fire. Just pull the whole offense aside and be like, "Are you guys, flip out like you used to do?" He's a much calmer guy.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
So
That's
what worked on that, which is good for his health, I'm sure. But we need something. Somebody
get that man a liquid death and let him vibrate and just.
We need
unleash on our offensive line.
If we go 0-4, people are going to be calling for Bill's head.
Yeah, and it's a possibility if they don't take care of business this week. Okay. Other games this week. It's like I was saying,
No,
it's
it's
really
not.
not a very good slate of games. I only have one game in the must-watch category, and this is building off of what we've been talking about. Falcons
Wow.
at the Lions. Falcons are a fun team to watch. Lions play close
He's
games.
folded.
That's a good game.
There's a ton of skill position talent all
Mhm.
over the field in this game. It's just, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Guys on turf running fast. Both teams could really use this win, especially Detroit coming off that loss last week.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
That's a fun one.
I mean, Chargers Vikings 2 weeks
I think I'm
ago
going to go Atlanta in that one too.
Sound-
I think Atlanta.
sounded like a great
Chargers
game
Vikings I have in
2
the
weeks ago.
I know. I put that in the intriguing category. I mean, they're both 0-2. We know that both of them are going to suck in the fourth quarter. They're going to make some bonehead plays. Chargers are probably more hamstrung by their coaching staff. The Vikings probably have less talent. I have no idea. That's a total coin flip. Game's in Minnesota, so I'm just going to say take the Vikings in that, but I have no idea.
Yeah, it seems like the Chargers really don't know how to win a football game, despite all their talent. I don't know how you have Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Kenneth Murray, you got Asante Samuel Jr., Jason Jackson, all these guys, and your fucking defense is. I know, but I mean, he was a good player for us. I don't know what happened to him. I mean, he got injured last year, but even before that, he was terrible. Yeah, I don't really know what the Chargers are, and I was hoping for a lot better than what we've seen. I mean, you guys had them.
No, I did not.
AFC Championship game.
I did.
Don't rope me into that one.
I did.
That's a good game. The over-under is 54.
Should be a lot of points. Kirk Cousins might be leading the league in passing yards. Actually, Tua had that 400-yard game.
They're 54, and the Jets
high-powered
Patriots
offenses right there.
Over under 37. It's like woof.
What is the Titans Browns? Because that's the next one I have in my intriguing. Titans Browns going to be a hideous game, but it's going to be an old school football game. Yeah, there you go.
I have no interest in watching that.
Next one intriguing. Rams at Bengals. You mentioned
I would say Buffalo.
Burrow
Washington.
he's day to day potentially.
Who's that?
But Joe Burrow might miss this game. Monday night, the Rams at the Bengals. Rams are playing pretty good football. Stafford's looked really good after everybody, including myself, predicted his decline this season. Playing with no-name receivers out there. Cooper Kupp's been on IR. So the Bengals really need this one bad. Rams probably don't need it, but they have been the better team so far this year.
Mm-hmm. How about Indianapolis getting that quarterback hurt two games in a row?
He's not going to last the season.
Like, what are we doing with it? No. I mean, he barely lasted 2 games. He's getting beat up, man. Baltimore looks good. Baltimore looks good there. One that's kind of under the radar. I don't know if you guys heard me mention it.
Yeah,
was,
I didn't hear you mention that.
Yeah.
I feel like Washington has a chance to win that.
You'll find out if they're
just because they're 2-0
or not.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Sam Howell's playing pretty well. He invites way too much pressure, but he's kind of fearless. There's something I like about him. I don't think he's, really good or anything, but I think that he's just got some. He's got some balls, man.
It's got some moxie.
And that defensive line over in Washington is no joke.
Payne is over there.
That might be the best.
Montez Sweat.
Arguably one of the Payne, Allen. Yeah, they got some players.
Yeah.
Oh, Chase Young's back.
Didn't
he had
even
a
mention
great
Chase
game.
Young. Yeah.
He had a 26% pass rush win rate last week, which is phenomenal. So,
wow. Yeah, good for him. I'll be rooting for him this weekend, hosting the Bills there.
Yeah.
Steelers at Raiders. Steelers have been ugly. Raiders have started really slow. It's the immaculate reception game matchup.
Is it?
You got to build some storylines into it to get your excitement up. I think that the Steelers, they just kept going to Najee Harris so much, and Jalen Warren is clearly a more explosive player at running back.
Slow out there, huh?
So slow. He
Where
had
he did
a streak
okay,
in the third quarter
but
where he was running over
looks
people.
just
He did good.
half
But
speed. I don't know what it is.
yeah, people are just on him immediately. And Jalen Warren at least can get away from people a little bit. I just feel like they need to balance out that running back group and might even need to lean towards Jalen Warren.
That's a tough watch. I'm not really interested in that, but
Yeah.
it's a Sunday night game, so I will watch it.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm kind of looking at this game sneaky?
Yeah.
I think Denver has a chance to beat Miami.
Dude, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
I kind of, for whatever reason, I kind of have a similar feeling. I don't know why. Logic really doesn't make. Logic
Guys.
says no, but there's something. I don't know. Maybe Miami's super excited. They just beat us and they kind of mail it in there. But we'll see. I mean, I wasn't
overly impressed with Miami. I know everybody's pumping their tires, but like
we just did
nothing.
I think if
so.
But Denver, but does this Broncos team going into Miami in September?
I wonder if we kind of gave a little blueprint as to what to do against Tyreek Hill and that downfield passing attack, because we stifled them a little bit, especially in the fourth quarter. I mean, we didn't really mention it. The fourth quarter, the wheels kind of fell off that offense a little bit. Tua started getting he threw the pick. He fumbled like 3 snaps or something. Did you see that when he was on the kneel down? He fumbled it, and if we just attacked him, we probably could have got the ball back. I mean, nothing probably would have happened. But he kind of unraveled a little bit there at the end of the game, and they do have a decent defense. I know they got a lot of points scored on last week, but I'm interested. I'm also interested in the Saints-Packers game. I feel like we keep shitting on the Saints for, real reasons, but they've played well. Packers look pretty good. Packers look like one of the better teams. That could be an exciting game, but it's the same time as the Patriots, so I won't be watching it.
Yeah, that was the one I looked at, and I was like, I just can't get excited about it. That Saints-Packers. I should. It is a decent matchup. Saints defense against Packers offense. Get to see that Saints defense is good. Get to see if the Packers offense is actually legit. Derek Carr is unwatchable for me. I can't watch him. I can't do it. No, he's so bad. And his antics and his attitude and everything. I'm like,
he's very cringy.
I'm so jacked. He's so jacked.
Dude. Man.
Okay.
Did you see Michael Thomas has been?
Yeah, their receivers look really good.
Not bad.
That other dude.
Michael Thomas tried to pick a fight with Derek Brown in the locker room. Derek Brown, the D tackle from the Panthers.
Locker room?
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
That's a real bad idea. In the tunnel, going to the locker room. Michael Thomas was trying to pick a fight with Derek Brown. It's like, ooh, you should walk away. You should walk away fast.
That kid's a beast.
Dude,
I would not do that. Michael Thomas is a big boy, but that's different.
Yeah.
That's a different.
I mean, they got Chris Olave. He's got almost 200 yards receiving. Rashid Shaheed, I think he's a rookie. Is he a rookie or second-year player? He's got 152 yards already, and then Michael Thomas has got 116. It's like, that's crazy.
Yeah, Olave made another highlight reel catch on Monday night last week. Yeah, and then after that, it's a bunch of poop games. It's Cowboys at the Cardinals, the Giants playing San Francisco, Chicago, Kansas City. These are games that are just lopsided. Just going to be over. I mean, Philadelphia is going to Tampa. Tampa is 2-0. Philadelphia has looked kind of mortal.
It's a week 2-0 though.
It's weak. Yeah.
But Kansas City's not been on it though, so maybe it's possible. I just don't have.
You mean Philadelphia?
Philadelphia,
yeah. I mean, both teams beat the Vikings by 1 score.
So maybe.
Maybe if you want to put it that way. Maybe it's more even, and it's in Tampa. Again, I'm highlighting that weather, September weather in Florida.
Baker Mayfield's been playing well.
Mike Evans has been really good last week. He made some good catches.
Dude, Mike Evans is killing it. Last week was weird. I was watching Red Zone, and Keenan Allen and Mike Evans were like the best players.
It's like 2018
in the 1 o'clock hour. I'm like, what is this, like 4 years ago?
Yeah. Mike Evans is absolutely carrying my fantasy team. He's been
question
lights
for you
out
guys
so far.
for the Patriots.
good.
Receiving wise, Kendrick Bourne, since Parker came back, Kendrick Bourne kind of took a dive in snap count. I mean, do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that he runs the wrong routes. I don't know if you guys saw that at all, or it was just the fact that that Parker was back and they want to get Juju more on the field.
I think
Yeah,
Parker's going to play no matter what,
Yeah.
just because of his
yeah.
archetype. You know, the way they have him out there. I don't think Bourne even really. I mean, they play the same position, but I don't think they play the same position in the Patriots offense. So I think if anyone's going to lose a lot of time because Parker's back, it's going to be Booty.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of mix and match with the rest of them. Juju Smith-Schuster is someone that I thought would be playing way more than he is, and it's been disappointing so far early on. So plenty of time to get it back on track, but I'm not seeing anything
Juju,
positive.
I went back and I looked at his stats in Kansas City last year, and he did the same thing. I mean, I don't know about if it was an injury or whatever or anything like that, but in terms of statistics and receptions, he had a very slow start on their team. First 2 or 3 weeks, it was very reminiscent of what we see here: 30 yards, 20 yards, 40 yards first couple weeks, and then boom, he had 100-yard game.
Yeah, he ended up with
900
7
yards
touchdowns or something like
but
that.
most of those
like
yards
900
came
yards.
in big chunks. And he had like 300 or 400-yard games, and then all the rest of it was like 50 or less. So he has.
Yeah,
I mean that's all we really want from him, right?
That'd
I'm
be
not
great.
expecting.
I know a lot
crazy.
of people have gotten on him about that. But, I mean, between him, Bourne, Parker, and Douglas, and then our 2 tight ends, I think there's enough there. I really do. I don't know about you guys, but and if you get Thornton back and he can provide anything, I think that's enough.
I think it's enough bodies. I just don't think any of them are
No.
particularly special. I think the only one to me that looks like he has some special ability is Pop Douglas.
I hope Thornton has something.
You know, and Parker's good at what he does. He's a contested catch guy. That's what he's there for. I think Bourne runs pretty good routes. He's got pretty good hands. Schuster's supposed to have great hands. Smith-Schuster's supposed to have great hands, and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I've seen some drops. So, you know, and then it would be nice to get Thornton back at some point,
right?
just to give a different look.
He had that good catch in preseason. I really hope he can come out and be,
when is
a legit deep threat.
He's on
when
IR.
is he eligible? Yeah, when is he eligible to come back?
Week
4?
Right.
Week 5 is the earliest time he can come back.
And then we have a bye week fairly early
when's
as well. I think. Is it week 6 is our bye?
It's week 11.
Yeah, week 11.
Actually.
Yep, after Indianapolis.
Really? I thought it was early.
It's after they play the
nice.
Colts in Germany.
After Germany, that's huge.
They get the week off.
So does that cost us a home game? Is that supposed to be a home game for us in Germany?
No.
Yeah.
Germany
I hate that. Yeah, I fucking hate
Indianapolis
that.
Is
they rotate them around.
I'm just looking at the schedule.
Nope. Incorrect.
Oh yeah. All right.
So am I.
You're right. Look at the wrong game.
There we go.
And then we got
There we go.
we got the
Mark it
Thursday night
down.
game, against Pittsburgh late in the year too, which is surprising.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't want to panic. Like I expect us to win this game. I think it's a must win, but especially going into the Cowboys. But I feel like the Saints, Raiders, those are winnable.
I feel like you could possibly beat Buffalo this
and then
year.
we have
I feel like you could split with them. You get Miami late in the not that late in the year, It's not that
I think some of the games we were thinking were like probably losses, just looking at some of the teams early on here.
Right.
I'm not so convinced that they're losses anymore.
Right.
Like the Giants game and the Chargers game right now, further on down the road is not really scaring me. We get the Broncos in week
Pittsburgh,
16. That doesn't really scare me.
Anymore.
I'm looking way ahead, but if we see what we saw last week, then stick a fork in us. But I mean, there should be some improvement here.
Yeah. Got something to look forward to, but it all starts with one win. And so let's hope Zach Wilson can do the trick for us again.
I like
get
that
the
new
Patriots
name.
back on track.
Let's call him Wilskin.
Wilskin. Zach
Let's
Wilskin.
just call him Wilskin,
like
dude. I like that better.
I'm little Zach
Oh,
Wilskin.
I hope
Yeah.
we clog him, 5 sacks, force 3 or 4 picks, and it's just an easy game. It would be nice to have an easy game.
Yeah. I just want that picture where the camera goes to him on the bench and he's got his helmet off and he's just like sitting there by himself, just like looking completely dazed, not in an injured way. Just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this again.
Yeah. Early lead.
Score
Early
quick.
lead for
We
us.
gotta start
vital.
scoring quick, man. It's like the thing about that too is all these great offensive coordinators. They have like a 14-play script, and it always works out so well. And then once they run out of that, it gets a little more difficult for them to score. But in one of the first 2 drives, they could put those things together to get them to score. And we haven't had that in so long. And I thought Billy was going to bring that back. And I'm hoping it's just the offensive line. Now we have Trent back this week. We get Vidarian Lowe on the right. It shores some things up. It'd be really nice.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. Support us here just the way that we appreciate it. So thank you all, and we will be back next week.
Adios.
All right, guys. See ya.